All right, y'all. Shoot, I guess we're live already. Yeah, we rocking. We are rocking. Okay, so this is gonna be part two, where we last left off. It's gonna be drawing Heinrich Himmler here. Got more of my concept art or my reference material here rocking, so I'll be able to kind of pull from that a little bit more as we get into a little bit more of these details. So let me see here. Okay, so we got things like a little bit more detail here. I can also kind of use this now to see where his sword would go. Now that's what we were trying to figure out last time, but kind of get a little bit more detail here. I'm able to now see that these are actually like hands. So I did not know that before, but we'll go ahead and get into that. And yeah, let's go ahead and start it up. So I don't know. We might even get into the hard line outs or the hard lines today. We shall see. Another piece of concept that I have is really this part here. So I'm kind of going to be able to reference this. So this was kind of what I'll use when I'm kind of filling in these details, like even just this part here where all this kind of connects. Just kind of took some screenshots from the gameplay. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's kind of, again, this is like the second time I've been drawing, so main idea here is to kind of just dust off the cobwebs and just get some lines on paper. Don't really stay in one area too long. Just kind of keep moving. So we got this part up right now, so I will just kind of go ahead and start filling this out here. Cool. So I'll have this up on my other screen, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right. Cool. And what I want to do is pull up my Spotify. Cool. Get this over here, and yeah, I'll just kind of play this lightly in the background, more so for me. Keep the sanity. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and get rocking. So I'm using a digital pen, and a tablet, which is on my desk. But let's go ahead and get started. All right. So I think something that's really helped me out is really just zooming in when I'm getting into the details of things. Um, but yeah, now that we have this reference material, it's going to be a lot easier for me to really fill this part in. We'll do that and then get this up here. Cool. All right. Okay, so this is actually going to be now, kind of scrolling down here. All right, let me just get some practice lines. Yeah, okay, that's feeling good. That's feeling right. All right, so it looks like with this is actually going to be, this is almost like little cuffs on the hands, and then these are going to be hands that are gripping onto this part, and they're actually gripping onto. There's the primary ring here, and then yeah, there's actually some bars that come out like this. Just getting some rough, keep it real rough here. Actually, let's see. Cool. All right. So then we got the hands are actually clasped onto this, so that's kind of neat. Okay. So they're kind of gripping on and holding on to it. Kind of funky. So we'll actually probably have to make these a little bit bigger just to make room for those hands to grab, so you can get some detail in there. Try to calibrate this a little bit better too, so I think this might be a little bit easier. Okay. These hands are actually overlapping these bars. They're holding on. Then we'll kind of just bring these out a little bit more here. Again, this is just going to be the reference lines when we move to the ink layer, which will just kind of create a new layer here. We'll get more into kind of getting these hard lines out. Kind of just these things are actually like arms that are holding on to this thing, really kind of funky. Cool. And then actually, if we look at this reference, they kind of come out like this. So they naturally do this, and they're actually stitched here. So again, his bottom section here, he's got human skin. So this is gonna then be probably out like so. And it's probably didn't probably rushed while he was putting his little gown together here. So we're not gonna make sure that this isn't just like symmetrical. And then these are just gonna be the arms. And there's definitely gonna be some tension lines right here of where everything's kind of all pulled. Again, he kind of nasty because this is the skin. Cool. Okay. All right. So let's look at a little bit more reference here. Let's do this. Okay, and then here, yeah, so it doesn't have a bottom jawline. This looks good. Okay, just one thing is he does kind of have some like, kind of some, material stretch marks here. And it's almost just like, it looks like he's got kind of like, kind of rotted out too. This I wanted to make sure I changed real quick. And so I've mentioned before in the last stream when we were getting started that we're not really going to want to spend too much time, doing erasing, but, this is definitely a focal point of, we actually need to get his elbow here. I kind of drew that wrong last time. Then I'm going to pull up this other piece of reference, because this is just going to show, yeah, this right here. So this is going to show kind of how his sword plays out. So he does have a sword that we'll go ahead and just make sure to include. Cool. So here, that is going to be on his nice area. So we can kind of just, get the little bottom part of it, the grip. Okay. This is just kind of something I don't know if this is actually how his sword is, but, kind of the grip tape, if you will, on the handle. But at least this way we can kind of get some initial. And in this reference, I can't really see where this hilt is, but actually, in likelihood, if we're thinking about perspective, it's probably going to come up and down like this. Okay. All right. So let's see here. I mean, this is pretty decent. I think what we want to kind of really get rocking is going to be this guy's, getting his hands a little bit more. Kind of get that fingernail in there. These hands are going to be the death of me, though. So we'll kind of work on that. We'll work towards that. Okay, let's see. I think that will be a good place to then. I mean, we can kind of get into here a little bit with these skulls too. Looks like when it was actually in the center originally, I thought it wasn't, but I think this other piece of concept I was looking at didn't have that. Cool. Kind of get these little eye holes in here. These little jaw lines. And these all just kind of wrap around. So, I might end up just kind of erasing this and kind of, redoing it. That's kind of the benefit of digital. It just makes everything really, really easy to edit. Okay. Also want to see if okay. All right, that should do it for this portion. So it looks like in this photo, I was kind of curious about this as well too. Looks like that purple that he has really does only come up to like here, so let's kind of break off a little bit. And then here, this is actually going to just be like, it's going to be a different color. Okay. Oh, this is going to be, I don't know, this is going to be kind of hard, but we're going to move into some of the hard lining out now. I think this is looking good, looking pretty buff. I mean, he's an old man, but maybe we'll probably get a little bit more of just make him a little bit older here. More rankles, but we'll try to get that out when we color. All right, so honestly, this is probably the easiest part here is getting these initial sketches down. What we'll go ahead and do now is move on to another layer. Okay, now this will be the ink layer. So what we'll want to do is we'll set this up instead of multiply. I think I'm just gonna have this normal. I don't really know. I'm not like too good at Photoshop, but we just kind of want to get it's kind of a little too thick. Just kind of want to get a good dark line here. So at this point, we'll probably move to black. Okay, and we'll go about 6 or so. 12, CX. CX is good. All right, this looks like it's going to be good. So I think at this point, I'm just going to zoom in. These lines get a little bit shaky. Let's actually just see how this looks here. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay. At this point, we kind of want to be a little bit more conscious of the harder lines we're making. These are kind of just the rough outlines here. But let's go ahead and try this out. And one thing as well too, what we can do is kind of get this layer and then even drop the opacity even more on this. Drop the opacity even more, so it's like even lighter. The initial color we used was a little dark. Yeah, see, so now I can see this a little bit better. Okay, cool. So let's do this. At this point, we really don't have to use this reference art anymore, and make sure we're selecting the right layer. Okay, this is kind of where we're going to get into the deets. This is a beard, got to kind of show that. Okay. Okay. All right. Gotta get his chin going a little bit more here. Again, I really want to actually have these lines be a little bit harder and not so sketch like I used. So this is something I just got to work on. I'm going to turn that off too. Okay. This guy's definitely got some bags under his eyes. Okay, this is going to get kind of triggering. How do I do this? Almost want to just get that to stop. Stop. Get out of here. Bro, for real? I'm like all sketched out now. Keep this little dark here. Actually, Control Z. I might as well just actually leave my hand on this since we're inking right now. just gonna get real fun. Especially if this brush keeps doing this. Let me do something real quick. I'm gonna go to my get this up here, and we gonna change some of this real quick. Okay. Yeah, see, this is weird. It's actually saying that it's clicking. No way, I'm not able to change that. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? Okay. Oh my lord. And if you get stuck on something, you know, you can always just peace out. One thing I might do here as well is just kind of get in a little bit closer. You know, it's another benefit of the digital art side of things. You can kind of just get in the thick of it. Yeah, see, even this is making it a little bit easier. Usually don't like to do the eyes too soon. Actually don't know what color this guy's eyes are anyway. Yeah, so for those of you keeping track, I was playing some Warhammer, you know, Total War Immortal Empires, and my computer was having some issues, so I had to take it into the repair shop, and it's going to be a little bit in there. It's actually going to take quite a little bit to get this thing fixed, unfortunately. There's just a QQ. So yeah, here we can actually get into a little bit more of this detail. So it's probably going to be a little bit until I'm able to kind of stream and play again, which is unfortunate. But we will keep ourselves occupied by doing this. This guy is just not happy either. He's just got some pretty pronounced lines here. And actually with this, I think if I turn my thing, oh yeah, okay, screw that. If I turn my pen around, it will make an eraser, but we don't want to. This gets a little wacky. Just want to make sure that this keeps looking like a nose and not just another mouth, right? Actually, I think we could do that by maybe just curving this line up a little bit more too. Keeping that there. Okay. All right. So I almost want to, now that I'm zoomed in, I'm able to make some better pen lines, but you know, let's just kind of keep working our way down. So from here, can't really see homie's ears, but I think what we should do is give it a little zoom out. And then we'll go ahead and get back into the paint. Alright. So this is where it gets kind of funky. These are where the straight lines really matter, so this might take a little bit. Okay. Legit, like, turning my... Oof. That's why you stop. Don't try to go all the way. Oh, boy. You know, we'll take it. We'll take it. Can I just get this out like this? Okay. From here, now that we have this line, we can kind of start making his other hair come out like this. And then let's see here. Make sure we keep our concept art up. just know that this is going to be his hair as well too. So see, I gotta just kind of, that's one of the issues with zooming in so much. Well, you know what? We can always just erase these lines later. I just want to make sure that these are going to be even. Then we can kind of come back through and just erase these lines we don't need. So I almost feel like I almost want to like re-go over his beard again now that I'm a little bit more like comfortable with the pen. So we'll go ahead and do that. A little bit more comfy. We'll leave that for now. All right. Let's keep working on this hat though. Kind of just pop this out a little bit. This part of this skull does kind of come up. We'll see how this all goes. See, this is where it gets a little difficult in just making sure that this is kind of coming out when you start putting these hard lines down. But we just gonna rush it. It's that snake that we were talking about, snake vertebrae. And actually here, if I remember correctly, it's kind of just break out even more. Kind of getting this kind of wrap-around look here, give it a little bit more dimension. Okay, here, this can kind of even just be part of the just make sure we're outlining these. Holy smokes, this is gonna trigger me. Okay. I wonder what's doing that. Let me see here. Yeah, it's weird. See, when I use my mouse, it doesn't do that. Oh, it's like a right click. So odd. Okay. What is going on here? Right click. Disable? Disable this. Okay, let's see now. Oh my god, I think we fixed it. Thank god. Okay, let's get back into this now. Now that that's settled, I'm gonna try to go a little bit faster on this, just this is all practice here. Tell you what though. Okay. All these little lines that are overlapping ain't too shabby. So I feel like this line might even needs to be actually a little down more. It kind of comes down this brim here a little bit better. And then, oh no way, it's still doing it, bro. You kidding me? You kidding me? Oh boy. All right. Come on. Come on. So here, even this I can even just tell by looking at this that this needs to come down a little bit better up here. So we'll fix that later. But you know, let's just keep going. The only way forward is through. I feel like that just changed my brush. Did that just change my brush? A lot of funky things going on with this here. Okay. Just kind of realized how much of this is literally going to be like a campaign, just drawing this thing. Gonna take a little bit. But if anything really stands out, we'll be able to clean it up after. Quick erase and just redraw it. Alright, so this now is going to be this cool little snick. It's probably actually one of my favorite parts about this guy's hat. So we want to kind of make sure that this looks like a little bull nose here, like this. And then here, we'll kind of want to give it a little bit. Oh, give it a little bit, yeah, something like that. And if I saw with the bones, these snake jaws. There you go. Okay, and then this is actually, you gotta be real careful with this here. Let me see here. Okay. Just want to make sure I really messed up this line, and I was just gonna kind of wait to. So I think we're just gonna kind of, yeah. I think that'll do it for now. It will be something that we will kind of clean up. One thing that we did miss is this part of the snake's back. This is kind of where this starts, so we can kind of just this line right here kind of helps, you know, make the eye know about what exactly that part is of the snake. All right, then we'll kind of just make sure that we do a little eye here. Okay. All right, getting a little in there. Okay, let me see where my Kemmler reference was. And a nice photo here I was using. Yeah, so here we're gonna kind of get into the skull. One thing we will actually do is we'll probably go back through that hat, and it looks like it's a little bit more torn up here. Makes sense. This guy's like a bazillion years old, so we'll just make sure to incorporate that. But here we're gonna start doing these lines. You know, a lot of this is going to be shadow work, which my coloring is, that's going to be another story. So, um, we'll see when we get there though. But so what's next? Okay. So let's kind of keep zoomed in here. I'd almost don't want to zoom out right now and just I'll start nitpicking everything. So we'll start going with the eyeballs, and these are going to be pretty big here, bigger than actually what I originally drew. There's a little tear duct there, and then what these do is this comes out like so. Kind of just gets that jowl, and then while this comes down, these actually turn into teeth, which we can start doing that. I'll do those teeth afterward though. And there's a line that kind of comes up here, and actually kind of starts from here and then kind of comes down a little bit of kind of that eye socket. And then there's actually one that comes down like this, and then kind of just makes that socket pop a little bit more. Okay. Then he does have these horns that were kind of shaved down, looks like, and that looks like it starts from up, almost follows. So this line, actually, for this, kind of comes up a little bit more. So it does start that, but then it just kind of stays up like this. And then that turns into then this little horn part. That's one thing I want to be careful of too, is not overlapping on my lines again. Just because it makes it a lot darker. This horn, I can kind of do that. Okay. Okay, then we kind of, this one actually in retrospect goes out a little bit more like this. It's a little bit more squared off. Okay. Yep. Let's make sure it kind of just comes out into a nice little peak. It's kind of, when it gets to this side of my tablet, it's a little bit harder to kind of get in there and move my hand to draw. I mean, usually I'd have my, paper that I'd have like actually turned sideways. So, I mean, maybe if I just do that, maybe if I just turn a little sideways like I typically do. Yeah, see, that actually does make it a little bit easier as I mess up the first line. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so here, it actually, looking into this detail a little bit more, kind of comes up like this. And then this is kind of that nose hole. Come on. Come on. A little bit more in there that way. Then this actually, I gotta erase this part here. Come again. Okay. So the thing is, this needs to be come up a little bit more. Oh my lord. It needs to be more depth here than it is here because of just the way it's the perspective of it. This, then it's really thin. All right, here we go. Get into this. Okay. Okay, and then this here is going to then be that part of the skull that this kind of does come to a point. And what we could do is get in here like so and then come up real nice. Okay, and this actually does come out a little bit fatter here, so it does kind of even out here. Then, yep, and then it does kind of have gonna get that, beak feel in there. Then this Actually does have another part that comes down like this now. And this is what we'll connect to there. This is what we'll connect to there. Bonk. And then this, I feel like this actually needs to be a little bit more teeth. Kind of get in there like that. Cool. Okay, I think that'll be good for this shoulder for now. Oops. Let's go ahead and move on to this next shoulder here. Alright, so same thing. We'll go ahead and just kind of start with the primary features first. I'll kind of want to keep this other one in the you know, in the line of sight, so I can just make sure that I'm not doing the eye sockets too different. Again, kind of start out there. It's got this tear duct. You know, not a perfect circle. I'm definitely gonna have this line here, and then kind of curves down into that. And then this line again comes down. This line kind of comes down like so. Okay. Then let's see here. So we'll start off with this bump first, and I think these are basically like a goat's skull that then was kind of like had the horns shaved down. So that's that part of that skull. This one comes out like this, then kind of bridges out to where that other, you know, the other socket would be. That's one thing too, you know, don't, you can kind of just lay a line down and then make sure that you don't just keep drawing, because if you got a backspace, you'll lose a lot of that work. Yeah, again, you know, just making sure I'm using I put those reference lines for a reason, so gotta make sure to use them. Oops, we will actually redo that. Okay, that looks good there. So that's where that other eye would be, right? Kind of come down here like this. This is definitely not as straight. You know, it's kind of got a beak out. And then what we can do is kind of just do this. Yeah, that's good. And then this kind of just beaks out here. And this actually would be covered by his staff. So we might not even get too much into this part of it, but once we get to the staff, we'll be able to decide. But this looks like he's, you know, if it makes sense that he's holding it in front of his staff. Okay, just kind of come down like this now. Up. And so the thing is, it kind of comes down like this first, then it comes up and it balances out. Kind of cosmetically, you can see how that would make sense with that skull line. Okay. Yep, and then basically we want to just make sure that this line here, you know, similar to what we see on the other side, that's going to connect there too. Okay. From there we can start making the same idea with the teeth. I'm getting almost like a Mr. Burns feel off of this skull right here. Okay. Alright, so I think that'll be good for the skulls. Here, it looks like this is really just going to be a dark, this is just going to be black here, but we can kind of just, you know, make sure that this is kind of coming down the right way. You know, kind of have this through line here. We're getting a little bit crooked on this a little bit, but, you know, we'll see if it's just devastating. Okay. And then I think the next important part is going to be kind of focusing on this skull. So this skull, if we actually look at this concept art, I'll kind of bring this over here and show you all what we're working with. So we kind of got the skulls in there. Got the hat. We'll kind of fix that up later. You see, as I was talking about, the staff is a little bit forward, which makes sense. We're going to move on to this skull part right now. So it looks like almost this is an undercoat or undershirt. So, you know, we'll put some lines like this. You can't really see too. Oh, you know, basically I'm thinking that we put some lines here, and then these lines will kind of contradict those. So you'll see kind of the different fabric layers. But cool. Put this back on the other monitor. All right. Okay. So like I said, for this one, we'll just kind of okay. That's that. And actually, this we'll need to redo. But let's go ahead and just make this skull because it's kind of going to be the next important part. And we'll start with kind of making these ridges here. This is where then these eyes will be. These eyes are actually a lot skinnier than I had before because they're kind of facing down a little bit. This one here. Now we definitely want to kind of stay within the reference lines we have because they are reference lines, and this is going to kind of make sure that things don't just get out of balance. Okay, then this kind of is actually like this, and then right here we will then do kind of the jawline there. Just like doing that. Okay. Okay, and then this is actually a little bit more of a, this is like more of an oval, if anything. I might need to redo these lines. I mean, looking at this, well, I know right now that this is going to be off, so we're going to make these lines a little bit smaller here. The skull can still start there, and actually, the skull does start, the circle part does start a little bit. It actually kind of lines up with these eyes a little bit more. So let's just kind of do that long. And this thing's pretty long in this photo. Pretty long, and it's kind of a little bit more like, oof, boy. Oh boy. It's just it's really like long. So we'll just kind of make sure we just get in there a little bit more. Hard to do these round parts though a little bit. Something like that. Something like that. You almost just feel like where it naturally would go. So I think we'll do that. And then, yeah, we'll just get in here and clean this up a little bit more. Yeah. We'll definitely want to keep these lines here a little bit less pronounced, a little bit. Okay. I feel like it's a little weighted on this left-hand side, but let's cheapers. This just kind of gets me. Okay. So here now, the reason why we pulled this a little bit lower is because with this, now that we're using these hard lines, we can kind of get a little bit more into the eraser. But by the looks of it, this part actually comes all the way down. So I'll get in a little bit more like this. And this kind of comes up like so. Yep, and then from here, this is now where his kind of looks like almost looks like this kind of pulls in like that. This is kind of that taut line. Oof. Let's not go off the beaten path too much. Right here, what we can do then also is, let's just scroll up here, make sure that we're catching his shoulders. So this was the brim of his hat actually, so we'll put a line here to kind of just cause that distinction. And then same thing that we got to do here with this. So, it's kind of going to be a little even. This hat might even just come down a little bit more like that. We'll clean that up after. Cool. Alright, alright. And this guy's actually got some, not to go back, not to backtrack too much, but he's just he's an old man. Gonna get into there a little bit later on. Okay, with this then we can use as this part gonna come down like so. And this is basic. What we'll do is we'll put a through line here. This will just kind of give that idea that it's part of it. Okay. Now this, on the other hand, actually, it looks like, yep. So this all connects to here. All right. So this circle, I just know this circle is gonna be rough. So what we want to maybe do is, knowing that there's going to be this clasp here, and it almost seems like, I'll show you all what I'm looking at. Let's look at this a little bit more. I mean, it's pretty blurry. It's just a screenshot from the game, but it's like we have this primary ring. These come out from, I think it almost attaches to this chain too. And then these are like the hands. See, these are like holding on. Here's the knuckles. So we gonna get it. We gonna get it. All right. Oh, this chain's gonna be actually a little bit rough to do. But let's get it done, right? It's the only way it's gonna get done. To do the things, you got to do the things. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I'm going to just make this ring because it's going to be very important for the whole rest of this. And because there's a lot of different overlaps of how this thing all clasps together, and this is a pretty important part of his garb. So we won't get to. We can always just like kind of get a harder line there, and then we can get in there and erase it a little bit later. Okay, but for this, let's just kind of, I don't want to do the chain right now, so we're going to do the chain. And that's how you get things done. Do the things you don't want to do. Okay, here. So with this, let's make this outer ring come from here. And this is just where it gets really apparent, where it's just like, oh my god. Again, I'm going to kind of just stop so I don't have to start all over. I mean, you kind of lose your, oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. That's fine. We'll just clean that up after. Oh. Make sure to come out first and then loop around. I think that's a fine enough ring to start. Cool. Now with these chains, chain link, so we know that there's going to be these chains here. So we can kind of start with these ones. These are then going to be the ones that are like kind of facing us, and we'll just follow these reference lines. Okay. Cool. And then we know that then these these are then going to be the clasps here that start. So this is kind of where the get into those details. Okay. And you know, the openings aren't too big. It's a little bit more skinny than that. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. See if that's still see if this is funky. What was this saying? Alright, I think we're back-ish. You know, we're at the 51 mark, I feel like. So yeah, we're about the 52 mark. We'll just go until the hour. I think if we just kind of keep putting... Oops. See, that just changed my ish. Damn it. CX. Okay. Okay. Again, we just want to keep these, they're chain, they're like little chain links, right? So you don't want to make them too fatty, but oh my god. Okay. Oh boy. I gotta figure that out. Kind of bumming me out. See, this is like not right. Get this back to 6. Okay. Oh, that keeps changing on me. Oh boy. Do it one more time. Okay. Okay. Then here, we'll want to kind of make sure that this is like a connector piece here, right? That makes the most sense. And then we will actually make that one a little bit longer. And then, yeah, this is kind of going to be good here, I think. We get in it. We get in it. Cool. Okay, this isn't looking too bad. All right, so now with this, okay, actually, let's just finish this up, right? So this kind of connects to here. What we will do is just we'll kind of make that, you know, we know what we're trying to do here. We know what we're trying to say. This all just connects together like so. Okay. I mean, ultimately, you know, we'll just look at this from super far away, so you don't gotta worry about the details. All right, so for this, I'm gonna kind of get in a little bit close again. Even with that, I feel like I gotta make these bigger. This one's fine, but you know, you gotta kind of make it. It's all the same chain. Just kind of gotta make it very similar. We'll just use this line here. Okay. Okay. make sure it kind of has some sort of that droop. It's not super tight. But we'll see how this turns out when I start adding these connector links here. Oh, load. Let's make sure that we give it enough space on this other side for this additional ring, right? Right. What we'll do is make that a little bit smaller, a bit wider. Let's see, this is getting a little tight here. We're not really getting that distinction between like the links here. So, you might need to even make this a little bit taller, cut this in a little bit closer, but we'll erase that when we get there. Okay, well this will probably be the taller one. Making sure that there's just those gaps between the links. And that they're pretty thin out too. Nope, don't do that. Bonk. Alright, let's go ahead and just zoom out now. Let's see how this is looking. We're kind of reaching that 57 mark. So we'll just kind of, see. I think this is a good place to, yeah. That's not too shabby. Not too bad. Lines are looking pretty good. Just stuff like this, I can just tell already this is a little bit close. Looking a little fatty on this side of the face. We'll kind of clean that up, but when you kind of zoom out and see, you can kind of tell how like, we're super in close to the details on these chains, but when you kind of pop out and see it all in its entirety, not looking too bad. So let's see, we are about 58 minutes here. What we'll do is we'll kind of just pull up this concept art again so we can just see where we're at. Let's see kind of what we're working with here. Not too shabby. Cool. Okay. All right. So I think next time, which might be later on tonight, maybe sooner. I really do kind of want to get to the inking, the coloring part. That's really probably going to be my biggest challenge, but probably also pretty fun. Is we'll get into that. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for joining on the progression, the campaign. My computer's in the shop, so I can't play. So we just draw on instead until it's fixed. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next stream. Smash that subscribe button. All right. Peace.